Thank you guys so much for making the time to sit with me today. You are three of my most trusted mentors and friends, and I love spending time with you. But in today's interview, I want to talk about the end of Notary Business Builders, or NBB, and understand what led to this decision, what it means for members, and how each of you envisions the future. So before we get into the conclusion of Notary Business Builders, Bill, can you share the story behind how the idea for NBB was born, what inspired its creation, and the vision you had for it from the start?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for hosting this interview with us too, Jen. I think I can speak for all of us, or definitely for me. We love you too and love all the support that you've shown through the years. So I love a good origin story, but I'm notorious for having a memory that doesn't always remember them accurately. So Laura, Jen, feel free to pop in here. But I believe the origin of this started with an idea that Jen and I had to marry my Tom app, my notary coach, and her marketing company, Sam, Signing Agent Marketing at the time. So we were going to marry Tom and Sam and build this collaboration together. And as we started gaining traction on that, moving forward on that, as it usually does with me, different dots and connections started flying. Laura and I started talking about having elevated training conversations with the notary community, moving to more advanced style questions beyond what type of printer to use. We were ready to help the notaries who had already gained some traction in the industry in getting to the next level. And then slowly and then very suddenly, we developed the largest collaboration in notary history. And we used this NBB platform to really deliver on a shared mission to help notaries serve more clients, make more money, boost their confidence, and build a thriving business beyond even loan signings, which were really popular at the time or right before we started NBB. What do you think, guys? Was that accurate? Did I leave anything out?
Close.
Close?
Sounds pretty accurate.
Okay.
You forgot the bromance. We were gonna
Oh,
marry Sam
yes.
and Tom and create a bromance for the ages, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Laura, what were your hopes for what NBB could grow to become? And did any of those hopes come to be?
Yeah, uh, I love the idea of having one place where notaries could gather for community, where notaries could gain different expertise from different people, because not one coach, one person can possibly have all the expertise within themselves. Um, uh, the other thing was that it was varied enough uh, that you could be at different places in your notary journey and pick up with where you are and move forward. And all of that happened. I think all of that happened in NBB over the years. And some who were maybe a little bit further along were able to do some fabulous things within their business, develop products and services that they might not have had been able to had they not had that support, that backbone behind them. And I got to see amazing progress for notaries, and that's what I wanted to see. My area of expertise that I brought, of course, was in the expertise of foundation, of being a good notary and understanding our job and how that adds to the value of what you do. And I had a chance through my calls to do that. So all of that took place and I think is really successful.
Awesome. I think it was too. Jen, did you find your time with NBB to challenge or grow you in ways you weren't expecting?
Oh my gosh, 1,000% yes. And I think the best example of that is public speaking, speaking to groups of people. I tell this story often, but that was the only class in college I ever got a D in, was public speaking. because I was riddled with fear and anxiety to get up in front of a group of people. And NBB made me fall in love with that aspect of my career, which was completely and totally unexpected.
I love that. Well, looking back on your guys' time with Notary Business Builders, can each of you share a favorite moment or situation that stands out, whether it was a breakthrough success, a hilarious mishap, or a heartfelt connection that truly encapsulates the spirit of NBB and what it meant to you? I'm sure there's a lot. So if you guys can pull any of them.
I've got one particular moment, and it was actually at the NNA conference this past June. And we had a very large group of notary business builders that were at conference. And we had this moment in the lobby after the gala, which is kind of the closing event. And we were all sitting in the lobby talking about our pits and peaks of conference, the best part of conference, and then the thing that maybe was uncomfortable or the part we didn't like. And that feeling of togetherness, of the collaboration that was happening with amongst different people in that group, just that feeling of love and friendship and a deeper connection than somebody just buying a course, or I think that's been the highlight of NBB as a whole for me, is just those connections that we built. And it was palpable. You could feel that in that moment, and it was wonderful.
Very cool. Do you have
I have another one that was actually at conference, not that conference, but the one before. And that's when the book had come out, the on loan signings. And we set up at the end of conference. I mean, conference kind of done. And we set up tables and said, hey, you can have a free book. We're going to autograph it for you right here if you want. And I was behind the table, so I really couldn't see what was happening or what the line looked like or anything. I just sat there and was, autographing, which was, first of all, an incredible experience. But we had a lot, again, of NBB people there who were offering to help. What they were helping, organize the line. They were helping to make sure we had the books getting on the table. They were asking, what can I do to help this with you? And I saw a video later of what that looked like, because I couldn't see it from my perspective. And that was just truly amazing that all of these people wanted to stand up to say, how can I be a part of this? How can I help you? And that to me is the outcome of what I hope for NBB, that notaries saw each other as people we could lift up. Yeah. And that ultimately it lifts all of us up when we do that. And so they weren't selling books, and yet they wanted to be a part of that moment. And that made it really special for me. I don't know if I will have that kind of moment again. So that was pretty significant for me.
I love that. What about for you, Bill?
Definitely. Well, I can so relate to both of these. Obviously, co-authoring the book with Laura and being a part of that was amazing. And Jen, I think we had a shared experience there in Orlando, because that's what stands out to me. It's this community that we've built and the connections within it, especially with the two of you, these two incredible leaders that have helped as co-founders of NBB along the way. It's when I went to those in-person events, namely the NNA conference in Orlando, when hugs and tears even were shared because of the depths of these connections, I realized that we built something that was well beyond just a training program, well beyond just a course. So that became very clear. And that is ultimately what made this decision to shutter NBB so hard, is because of those types of relationships. But then also, as I look back, the memories I have with Laura and Jen on our retreats We do these amazing retreats to beautiful places all over the country now, filled with planning, brainstorming, giant paper on the walls. And of course, we mix in plenty of fun and adventures. Those are memories that I'm going to cherish forever. I'm sure we'll find some way to continue those as we collaborate in the future. And I think that type of relationship and connection is what made NBB so special. That we, as founders, of course, but even the faculty as a whole, I've watched everyone bloom and blossom in their own way right out of their comfort zones. It's not just the three of us. We have 7 other faculty members that didn't know what they were getting into when they signed up for NBB. The vision was not clear when I first called. It was started out with, what if we do something like this and you do this?
Dangerous what if question.
Dangerous what ifs, right? And we got Zion, Tyler, Matt, Nina, Sandra, all these experts, Jim, Alan, of course, in their own realm, coming together to deliver this information, not knowing what to expect, and really just going into it, figuring it out, tinkering with it, being awkward and uncomfortable and figuring it out. It's been a beautiful thing to witness. And I think that energy, just that commitment to notary's success and building connections with authenticity is what kept the energy and the integrity of NBB in place for so long.
I love that. Well, you brought it up, Bill, but you are one of the driving forces behind Notary Business Builders. So, and this community that just celebrated for its unparalleled collaboration and impact. Can you share the reasoning behind the decision to bring NBB to a close? What key factors influenced this pivotal moment, and how do you see its legacy continuing to shape the notary community?
Jeez.
I know. Sorry.
Great question. Yeah, that sounds like a me question. Just goes on and on.
On and on.
Sure. The bottom line is it came down to a financial decision based on market trends and feedback. So despite all this amazingness, despite having 12 top-rated training courses included, 20 live teaching and connection calls every single month, and an amazing, incredible faculty of 10 industry leaders, our membership numbers were declining to a point where it becomes unsustainable, because running that type of programming on a daily or monthly basis takes resources. It takes money to make all of this happen. And as members left, they shared similar sentiments. They loved it, but the membership fee wasn't affordable, and they felt overwhelmed by the number of resources that were available inside. So that was an important lesson for us. And this is important for everybody in any kind of business. Results don't lie. You might be in love with your product, like I was and am for NBB, but the marketplace will tell you what it wants or what it doesn't want, not necessarily with their words, but with their patronage or their wallets. Values in the eye of the beholder. And as amazing as NBB was for so many of our members and for our faculty, I think, we learned a lot. We missed the mark with some of the messaging, the branding, some of the sales copy, 100% my responsibility, right? That was my job in the endeavor. And I've learned so much from doing that. And then as far as the legacy that you mentioned of NBB, I believe that it's already beginning to sprout. These connections and relationships that were built within it, they're already sprouting outside of it. And we fostered some of the most creative and influential minds in this industry, and they're going to do big things for the notary community and beyond. I just can't wait to see it happen. And it's already, the momentum, the wave is happening behind it. And here's what I've learned in business too. People usually don't tell you what they're going to do. They just suddenly do it and you get to see it. And I think there's some things happening behind the scenes with a lot of our faculty, with a lot of our members, that are just going to knock our socks off.
I love that. I do. Laura, as a well-respected leader in the notary community, the official GOAT of our notary community, Can you share how the partnership among the three of you initially came together? I know we heard the origin story, but how did your collaboration evolve over time? And what has this transition meant for your dynamic as a team?
Well, there are a lot of parts to that question. So I'll start with the first part and see if I remember any of the other ones.
Yeah.
I started really collaborating with Bill well beyond anything that would be significant. Carol Ray and Bill had started this little breakfast group, and they just did this little Q&A call, and it wasn't a very big group at the time. And I think they started before the holidays, might have been in the fall. And Carol invited me to join as a guest, just come as a guest. So I did. And that turned into something that's, 5, 6 years later, still happening. And that's where our initial collaborating, I think, started. I met Bill because of Carol. I don't know why he was in California, but it was when Symposium was happening. And Carol said, this is, I don't know, was it days or a week before the event? I mean, it was just on top of the event. It's all done. And she said, you need to let him come to this event. And I'm like, oh, I had sold out, but I'll let him in. That's all right. I'll find a chair for him. And then she went on to say, and you have to let him speak. And I'm like, what? I have my speakers. I don't know this guy. I don't know what he's going to say. And ultimately, in the end, because of my collaboration with Carol prior and my trust in her, I said, all right, he can have like 10 minutes while we're eating. There you go.
It was the commercial. Yeah.
He was the commercial there. And there he is with his little 3x5 cards, sweating, like, oh my God, it was the most uncomfortable thing. I felt uncomfortable for him.
So
You know what?
nervous.
When we got the surveys back, people loved him. Are you going to have him back? We want to hear him. And so that was the beginning right there. And by the way, I have to say, Bill did not come empty-handed. He came with like 20 Hal Elrod books that we gave out to our first people coming in the door. So over the time, it was very easy for me to learn more collaborative skills because I saw what Bill was doing. And I said, I just have to do those things. And I can start to collaborate more than I already have. And I was collaborating already with 2 other people for that particular event that went on for about 7 years.
Yeah.
So that's where our collaboration started, because then I did bring him back and he did speak and he became more involved. And with his help, we were able to actually bring Hal Elrod to our stage.
That was cool.
Pretty darn incredible,
Yeah.
magical thing. So that's kind of how that got going. And then he mentioned to me, hey, I was talking with this person, Jen Neitzel, and we have this idea. And then I started thinking maybe more than that. And that conversation got started. Now I knew who Jen was because Carol Ray, once again, and I don't even know if Jen, remembers other than I'm saying it. It was a rainy day. I was teaching, and we had a particular, I can't even tell you why Carol felt this conversation had to be done, but it was a very specific conversation for about 20 minutes. And that was it. And that was my first meeting with Jen. She's in her kitchen or wherever she is doing stuff and talking, and I'm trying to do administrative stuff for my class. And I really didn't think much about it after that. It was just whatever it was. It was a moment in time. But then Bill brought her up, and I remembered her name. And I said, I want to be a part. Okay, what are you thinking? And so as he starts thinking and she's adding her thoughts, it starts turning into more than the bromance between the 2 products. It became this vision of what could be and what do notaries need. And that was pretty exciting because I've been doing this in January 21 years. And probably 18 of them I've spent helping and coaching notaries to make it in their business. But the only thing I had to offer was what I knew and how I did it.
Yeah.
Which isn't the only way to do so. And so here was an opportunity to build something bigger and better with the help of two other people who brought in such different skill sets than what I imagined for myself. And thank goodness, because I learned those skill sets for myself and was able to really massage my own practitioner side of the business as a result. So that's all how that
It
came to be.
happened. Yeah.
Mhm.
How do you feel the three of you are doing in both your relationships and collaboration as you guys transition out of NBB? Laura,
Yeah, you know what?
yeah.
I think when you have a change in what is, this is just what we do all the time. There can be periods of feeling a little lost, figuring it out. I got to figure this out. It looks different to me now, and I'm speaking for me. And then moving into what do I know now that I didn't know then that I can use and leverage to move forward. And in terms of collaboration, we're still collaborating.
Yeah.
It's just in other products. This is just one. We were collaborating in quite a few other things, not just this one thing called NBB, and that continues. So it is a little transition, but so far so good. We're moving along.
Nothing's
Bill,
broken. Huh? Yeah. Jen, as you reflect on your time with Notary Business Builders, which I know you've been doing over the last couple of weeks, what do you believe were the greatest strengths and contributions to what were your greatest strengths and contributions to the notary community?
My greatest strengths, I think, have been making a difference in what people think about themselves when it comes to doing the hard thing, which is marketing. One of the lessons that we taught from the very beginning was there's two ways to build a successful business: your online presence and building relationships with people in your community. And I focused on that relationship building piece, and I saw it happen in real time. And that was just amazing to see to hear from people who had conversations with me about, Jen, I'm so scared to walk into this title office, or I'm so scared to go to this networking event with the bar association in my community, and I'm scared to do it. And they really understood that courage was a decision and not an emotion. And so they pushed forward with it. And then to be a part of the experience afterwards, where you see somebody who is riddled with anxiety and understand that, because I have felt that way before. And and really feel that with them, and then they come back and they're proud of themselves, and to witness that has been unbelievable. And I think that was one of the strengths that I brought to that community. Absolutely, it was giving people that space to say it's okay to be scared. And you've got people with you, in thought as you're doing this. You are not alone. And
Yeah.
that's a big deal for people who are, in essence, all of us solopreneurs.
Right. How does your reflection over this time, how are you reflecting? How are you feeling about the closure of NBB?
Well, I'm sad, of course. I think I can speak for the three of us that we're all sad about it. And, making a business decision can be difficult, and it has been sad. But I also know that those relationships that we built were real and will carry on. It had nothing to do with you're paying me a subscription fee, and that's why I'm talking to you. I mean, these were real relationships that developed over the last 3.5 years. And I have zero doubt that those will carry through in the future.
I love that. I do. I have zero doubt as well. So Bill, with business builders, Notary Business Builders coming to an end, are there any plans to continue offering any programs, resources, or forms of support for the community that it built?
Yeah, good question. So, I think to rewind a little bit, it's real important to clarify that Notary Business Builder was one product of many, not only for the Notary Coach brand, but for Coach Me Laura, for Marketing for Notaries with Jen, and our other faculty members, right? We came together, our personalities, but also our companies, to deliver this value and create one product. So all of those other products still exist. They're still thriving. They're still going strong. So you can expect to see a lot more of that, especially now that the realization that the community was the huge piece of NBB that we're going to miss the most. We still got the coaching, we still got the training, we got all those little pieces, but what was the community? So already there's been a couple of those. Jen started Marketing for Notaries on the school platform. Laura's developing, I can't speak to you to exactly what it is, but it's coming in January, right? She's building that sense. I've got the high performance notary community on the school platform too. So those types of things are happening. And I think you can expect to see more of this. I related it to the analogy of a tech company who starts laying off some of the most brilliant engineers they have, right? The software engineers, right? What happens to them once they are free of that job? They're free to create their own. So people are going to start creating outside of NBB amazing products. And I think that's coming. Now, for NBB specifically, we have plans to bundle and share a lot of the replays of the live training classes. That was some powerful classes that focused mindset, the practical application of your work, the marketing, the networking strategies. All of that we taught over the last 3 years are going to be bundled and released over the course of the next, I'm going to give us some grace here. Over the next year, you'll probably be seeing those types of products. And you'll see a lot of them being released, not just by the Notary Coach brand, but by Coach Me Laura and Marketing for Notaries as well. Plus, because we're craving this sense of community as well, you'll likely see pop-up reunion type events at the live conferences that we attend, either together or separate. Plus, I'm so grateful our NBB Alaska cruise is still on for September this year. So truly looking forward to that. And I think that's a beautiful part of this whole thing, right? So many times in collaborations of any magnitude, but one this big with 10 different personalities, sometimes conflict is what shakes it up and makes it not work. We did not have that. We had the gift of liking and respecting each other through the entire process. So we get to make this business decision that was purely financial based on market trends and feedback rather than drama. And it's just been such a gift.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that I think that for people who aren't in your super inner circles, who don't really know the dynamic of the relationship with you, to understand that there was no infighting happening here. This was a literal business, a finance business decision. I think that's really important to make sure it's very clear, because there will be noise that doesn't align with what's really going on. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Certainly.
Now, Bill brought it up, but Laura and Jen, you both brought established coaching programs and mentorship into NBB. As you step out on your own, how have the programs evolved through your experience with NBB, and what are your plans for them moving forward into this next chapter?
So, okay, I'll go. So I really had the opportunity to hone my coaching skills inside Notary Business Builder, and which I'm so grateful for, because it allows me to further develop relationships with notaries across the country on a much more personal level. And I love that space. I love the one-on-one coaching space. And so over time, that's evolved into a coaching program with all all of the lessons learned, over the past several years, and I'm able to give this advice that like I've been working on for the last 3.5 years to notaries. And I love that I'm able to still continue that one-on-one coaching through Marketing for Notaries. And that's a program I plan on keeping, for the foreseeable future, because I just love it so much. And what was the other part of the question?
Just what else you guys were planning on bringing out of NBB as you guys go out on your own? So I know you have your platform.
Bill said earlier, I have moved my platform, my community and learning platform, from what was once on my website, marketingfornotaries.com. And I've moved that piece of it, the community and video learning piece of it, to the school platform, which Bill is also leveraging for his community and learning aspect. And it's so cool because it gamifies learning and gives you an opportunity to create some friendly competition, and get people to engage, build stronger relationships while learning the valuable lessons that we have are able to now pass on to our communities because of the lessons we've learned inside Notary Business Builders. So I'm very excited. Bill mentioned it just a few minutes ago, that we're free to create our own things. And that's an exciting position to be in, where you get to fully create this community on your own, right? And test these theories. And I've kind of been doing that over the last year, testing different theories and how they work. And I've been loving every second of it. So I'm very excited to continue on with Marketing for Notaries and be able to still collaborate with these two amazing people on our various products that we have. And I know that the three of us, the magic that happens, there will be something else that happens with the three of us in the coming years, because the magic that happens when the three of us together is just too good. It won't be over just because everybody is shuddering.
Yeah. Laura, I want to come to you, but I want to tell both of you, for your school platforms, you're making me crazy. You have me in a dead heat fight with Carol Ringwald every day. I'm up, she's up. She just caught up with me in Bill's group, which I thought would never happen. So when you talk about gamifying learning, I just want to real quickly touch on that, because people are not going to understand that. Can one of you outline what that means in the school platforms? Bill?
Yeah, I can quickly just summarize it. So one of the biggest challenges that online communities were facing is, like in a Facebook group, is that it just kind of dies. People stop asking questions. People don't comment, like, or share. So school came along and they built an entire platform around engagement. So when they say gamify, what it basically happens is you can earn points as you engage and participate in conversations by posting questions that inspire others to like and comment, by liking and comment on other people's posts, and by participating in some of the courses, or what they call courses, in the classroom. So there's lots of different ways that you can tinker and play and earn points, and it inspires this fun, competitive engagement in the community.
Love it. I love it. Laura, did you want to share what you're looking forward to as you kind of branch out a little bit on your own out of NBB?
Well, some of you, of course, know that my lane is really foundational training. I just really have a passion for notaries to understand the service they provide and how they can be of more value when they understand what they're doing, they understand the documents. So you're going to see more intensive types of training from me. And I foresee that coming up in next year. I also will be doing a lot more just deliberate practice types of training. I will continue with Coach Me Laura, which is a Saturday morning, smaller group than TNT, where we really dive deep into the question. Instead of just answering the question, we work through the question together, and it's more interactive.
I like that. Yeah.
And we have a chance to throw out there, well, what do you think about that? Why do you think it's that way? What word is telling you that? to really break it down so that you can use that learning and apply it when you're by yourself and
Right.
you're the notary in the chair, and you have to decide in this circumstance, what are my choices and what's my risk, and how am I going to document it?
Yeah.
You may or may not do that again the next time, depending on what that is. And I think that is, I see a lot of fear around making decisions when it's not clear cut. It's an acknowledgement, fill it out, I'm good. And anything beyond that,
Yeah.
it becomes scary, and people are reaching out to Facebook, they're reaching out all over the place, and they get answers, but they don't understand why that's the answer.
Right.
So then next time something happens, they're like in that scary place again.
And
And I want
they're asking the
people
question
move.
again. Yeah.
Right. I want to help them move from that scary place to a place of empowerment, where they can start asking their own questions and answering their own questions. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on for the majority. The other thing is I loved the mindset work that I did for the last, over 3 years. I had really moved into that space maybe just 6 months to a year before
Yeah.
I actually started leading those classes. But through it, I find that's the other big deal, is having that right mindset that lets notaries move from being a notary to a business owner,
Yeah.
to an entrepreneur, to really get what they think of themselves and their business congruent, because your business cannot outgrow you.
Yep.
So wherever you're at, that's as big as it's going to go. So those are the two areas that I plan, and I'm not planning to go over to school. I have, the Coach Miller website, and I will be still using more traditional methods of helping people know what I'm putting out there, and hope they'll decide to join me, and that's part of their learning path.
I love that. It just shows the variety of what you each bring to a community, how you're deciding to stretch out from that outside of NBB. I think it's really exciting to see it happen. Will you guys do me a favor before we move on? And Bill, I'm going to ask you to do this. Outline who owns what, because this is a question I know that people have been getting a ton of. So I want to just put it out there. I'm going to say it. You don't have to. Bill Soroka does not own the school platform. School is a platform that Bill Soroka and Jen Neitzel are using for their prospective communities.
Can I just make a correction there, Jen?
Yeah.
I do not
Yeah.
own the school platform yet.
I would
We're
take
gonna let
that
Alex
seriously.
Hermosi know you said that.
Yeah, I'm trying to reach Alex, see if we can work out a deal.
That's funny. That's funny. But so yeah, can you just a quick little who belongs to what? To do a little bit of a clarifying big picture, not small things that you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that was probably one of the most confusing things I've heard just recently, is I don't own the school platform. Notary Coach owns Sign and Thrive. We own the High Performance Notary Community. We own the Certified Reverse Mortgage Signing Professional Program. We collaborate on the World of Apostees program. There's so many I've even forgotten.
There's a lot of courses, but you, Bill Soroka, are Notary Coach.
I own notarycoach.com solely and independently.
Gotcha. Jen.
And I own Marketing for Notaries, and anything branded under Marketing for Notaries. So my school platform, there's a website, and then all the videos, coaching, etc., that falls under that Marketing for Notaries umbrella.
Gotcha. And Laura.
So mine could be a little bit complicated. I own Coach Me Laura, and Coach Me Laura has a couple products out there that Bill and I collaborated on, and the one Laura Biewer presents happens to be located or housed on Notary Coach. Not that Notary Coach owns it, but it's something that we share together.
Right.
And then the Coach Me Laura Saturday call is mine, and
Yeah.
I will be rolling out other products and services in the next year under that name of Coach Me, Laura.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I think we should also clarify the Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent program, because that is a mutual collaboration between the three of us.
Mhm.
And although that is housed on notarycoach.com, that's a collaboration that all three of us own and manage.
Right.
And TNT, I think it's important to bring up the weekly Tuesday Notary Titans call for any regular attendees. You know, they know that Bill has sort of taken a step back from his co-hosting and graciously allowed me to fill that co-hosting spot with Laura. And as we move into the new year, TNT is still going to continue as our free coaching call to notaries across the country
Great.
every Tuesday afternoon. There's going to be a new link coming out, and people are going to get information about all that later. But that is something that Laura and I are very excited to continue.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Thank you guys for clarifying that. I don't know if it's going to help, but I thought we'd give it a shot. All right. So over the years, attending conferences has become not just about professional growth, but it's also about deepening personal relationships. Can you guys share how those infamous shared sleeping arrangements during events or night strategy sessions strengthened your bond and added to the unique dynamic of your partnership and camaraderie within the Notary Business Builders platform or group?
Well, I'll tell you, I can think of one moment at the National Notary Association conference in Scottsdale. So that would have been 2 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was before that book signing that Laura mentioned a few minutes ago. And we had all the books stored in Bill's room. And I can't remember if you guys were pre-signing some things or we were organizing books and we were organizing stuff. And we had all these wonderful notary business builders that were there at conference with us who volunteered to help. And we had this amazing group of what was like 8 people getting everything ready for that book signing, all crammed in Bill's room.
On Bill's bed.
Literally sitting on Bill's bed and at the desk and I think I was sitting on the dresser most of the time, and we're trying to, get them ready for this moment. And it was just so cool to look around and be like, we're all sitting here together with a shared purpose of helping Bill and Laura, and nobody's complaining. Everybody's laughing, having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And it was just such a neat moment. Do you guys remember that?
I do.
It was such a neat moment. And I will never forget Matt Miller, the president of the California League of Independent Notaries. You guys had bought that new sign, that big sign. And that's like, he's going to do the big reveal. And he's pulling the sign up and he attaches it to the top and the hook doesn't hook. And the whole thing just collapses and just scared the crap out of everybody. Just one collective like, ah! And it was just a very funny moment. So that is definitely something that stands out. And to be clear, when you say the sleeping arrangements, that's usually me and Laura.
No.
Bill is always on his own.
I just wanted to light a little fire there. Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify. Laura and I make great roommates, though.
We did.
We've experienced a lot. We've gotten food poisoning together.
Well, that was going to be mine, is the food poisoning.
Even poisoned
in Monterey. I did not get food poisoning because luckily I'm allergic to seafood and I did not have the clam chowder, but Laura and Jen were wiped out an entire day in Monterey.
Yeah.
For that,
oh
my God,
that was rough.
He brings in Gatorade the next day and I'm sitting there with I had been in bed for like 2 days. My hair's like this and I'm like, I have one eye open. And he looked at me and he was like, nice hair.
You know what though, but that's one of the other things that I had thought of is just being able, we've had lots of fun travels and adventures, but being able to bond in pajamas with bedhead is something that I think a lot of people don't get. There's a different comfort level. There's different level of trust that comes with that. So I've enjoyed that as well. I loved hosting you both at my house, staring at the
My
ocean
best.
deck, brainstorming up here. And then, of course, we can't forget the alpaca ranch
Yeah.
Um,
in
So fun.
Modesto. That was awesome. And one of the memories I have is, I was still recovering from my pulmonary embolism at that time. So I went to bed pretty early, but being knocked awake at 1 o'clock in the morning by that singing group of who I don't even remember who it was. I was out of it. It was
I have
Suho.
no idea. I don't know what you're talking about.
Just knocking on the door, and I answered it in the middle of the night, and they're singing "Stop in the Name of Love."
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know if any wine may have been involved with that, but it was fun, and those are the memories that
I
I
love
look
it.
back, and
Yeah.
it just it's funny. It's not about the conference. It's not about what you learned in the conference. That's important, but it's these connections and memories that really bring it all together.
I love
Yeah,
that.
my favorite Bill's at your place where we were in pajamas because I was looking at some past videos and we had the big paper on the glass.
Yep.
And we're all in our little areas in your living room area and coming up with ideas and organizing them. And it was a really free-flowing, piggyback is all of our middle names for sure. Because I'd say something and then well, I want to piggyback on that. And then Bill would piggyback on that. It's like a double piggyback. And that's how these things were created and how they grew and why they were so good. Because all three of us had the opportunity to throw in our perspective, our experience, the area of the country we live in. I mean, all of that influenced what we created.
Yeah.
And it was fun doing it. And I think that's probably, we did the work, but it didn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Even when we were working.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I
have
love
to say, fun days, fun times.
How
That's
did
why
I love it. There are many different personalities on this screen right now. And Bill is unlike anybody else I've met. You're all just different. So how did you find the synergy to work together as a group? And how did you work through conflicts that did come up?
Well, a couple of things is just to know some of the nuances of each of us. And like Jen, I learned right away that she keeps her phone in do not disturb. Yeah. I don't care what day it is. I don't care what time it is. Whenever I wanted to reach out to her, it said do not disturb. And so here's what I did. I text and then it'd say, do you want to disturb anyway?
Yeah, do you want to disturb her? Yep.
Notify anyways. And so I just ignored it. And then I'd say, well, she'll look at it and decide if this is something, and almost always she did reach out to me pretty quickly. Bill I had to get him in the morning. Yep. He's an early bird Bill. Now I'm kind of early bird, but he might even be earlier bird than me. Mm-hmm. And so one of the great things was the earlier in the, like if I did a 5 a.m. text or a 6 a.m. text, I'd probably get him.
Hear back from him. Yeah.
First thing in the morning. Yeah. And so I knew that if I texted after about 7 or 8, it's tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Right. So I had to make sure that if it was important, I had to be early with Bill. And if it was important, I had to disturb Jen. And those were like the two things that helped me stay in communication in a timely manner with them. So those were kind of just nuances that I learned right away with them. And then the thing about disagreements, we have disagreements. No, I don't think that matters. No, that's not what they're looking for. The thing is that by the time we were done massaging things, we seemed to come to the same conclusion. Yeah. For most of the things. And sometimes we didn't. And somebody had to say, we're going to do it this way. And we had to agree to disagree. And I think that's the part where collaboration can fall apart. Yeah. Is if you don't agree that you're going to disagree sometimes, it's going to happen no matter how much you think alike.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, and allow the space for that to happen. And there's going to be times you're going to be irritated. It's going to happen. I'll just allow it to be, because this too shall pass. And it does.
That's
You
great.
guys
Yeah.
can say that if you want.
Yeah.
Well, and to piggyback on that, I think um, that comes easier when you trust the people you work with, and you and this obviously is what comes in this particular relationship. I trust that Laura and Jen are coming from love. They are here to support the community in any way they want. They're not here to do anything out of integrity. And I have full 100% trust in that. So when you have that kind of trust,
Mhm.
then it's way easier to let go and say, all right, and I'm not going to that's not the battle I'm going to choose today. That's something that means something to this person for whatever reason. And I don't need to die on this hill, right? So it doesn't hurt or bruise the ego at all, because you have total trust that you're working towards the same cause. So you can
Right.
get out of the way a little bit. And then the other thing that I really appreciate with both Laura and Jen is their ability to have direct conversations. We can Jen, from the very beginning, I've always told her, is like, you can deliver hard news to me. You'll tell me what other people won't hear. I need you to continue
Yeah.
doing that. And she's very good at that. And I appreciate that level of direct conversation. And Laura, I think that's a skill set of hers too. It's like, no fluff. Let's just get right to the point.
Yeah.
We trust each other. We don't need to build it all up with all the fluffy feel goods. Let's just get to the core of the situation and deliver the news. And I work really well in those environments.
I
Gotcha.
think we gave each other
Piggyback on,
space to do it.
Yeah.
yeah. If I can piggyback on Bill's piggyback of
Yeah.
Laura's,
Triple piggyback.
I think the other important thing, all of these things are true. And I think the other piece of it is we are not blind to the fact that when the three of us are in the room together, there's a magic that happens. There's a feeling, and Jen, you've been lucky enough
Yeah. I
to
have.
experience that. The three of us don't take that lightly at all. And I think we really leaned into that magic because we knew instinctively that because of that spark that exists when the three of us are sitting across a table from each other, that we can really make an impact in the community, the notary community that we each individually love so much.
Yeah.
And so leaning into that magic sort of made arguments and things like that that might have, and it wasn't, I don't ever really recall an argument or, if we're sitting at a table and somebody doesn't like the idea, I felt always very safe to be like, that I don't like that, and I think Laura felt safe, Bill felt safe, like we've amongst each other, we've stayed in each other's homes, we've broken bread with each other's, families together and I mean, it's beyond just a business relationship.
Yeah.
The other day, this is a great example. Bill and I are both starting this school community. And I had somebody reach out to me, actually more than one. I had about 4 people reach out to me with the specific question why my marketing for notaries materials were not available in Bill's high performance notary because Bill's school platform. And that's what made me realize, like, oh, because school is relatively new as a learning
Yeah.
platform,
Yeah.
right? Like it made me kind of open my eyes, like, oh, we're confusing people a little bit, And I had to reach out to Bill and I was like, look, I didn't feel the need to say, although I don't know if I did or not, don't take this the wrong way, but I really didn't feel the need to say it. But I'm like, I got to kick you out of my platform just for a little bit. I need some separation here. So people realize that I'm standing on my own with this and high performance notary is for you. And it was like, okay, cool, no problem. Like it wasn't hurt feelings. It wasn't like, oh my God.
There's no catfighting happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't even, I mean, I didn't even feel like it was going to touch a nerve with him so much that I needed to have a phone call, because if I thought it was a bigger deal, I would have picked up the phone. But that is pretty powerful when you don't have to sit there and every time you say something that might be upsetting, think to yourself, well, how can I say this in a way that I'm gonna have to tiptoe around Bill, or I have to tiptoe around Laura. We
Yeah.
never, that I'm aware of, ever really did that. So that was a gift.
That's the
It is-
direct conversations. Yeah, it's been powerful.
Yeah.
And it is a gift and it is magic. Undoubtedly, as you guys move away from this community, the NBB community, there will be others, people that want to step up and try what you guys are finishing here. If you were to give any of those prospective community leaders any one piece of advice, can you guys think of what that might be? You've shared a lot about how your dynamic works, but if people don't already have a relationship that they're growing, however introductions happen or relationships happen, is there advice you'd give them if they're trying to start their own community like this? A piece of advice.
Yeah, so maybe not necessarily community, but a collaboration, I would
Yeah.
say, if you were going to start a collaboration. So what you've
There you go. Yeah.
kind of, but what has been demonstrated even in this conversation is to choose wisely who you're collaborating with, and don't move too fast. You know, Laura and I met in 2019, and we didn't start NBB until 2021. Jen and I met in 2017 or 18. I can't remember when it was.
I think we decided it was 18.
18 in Dallas, right? So we've had a chance to take small bites of each other, if that sounds right, right? Like it's almost like you're kind of testing the relationship. Like, all right, we'll do a call together and see how that goes. And then, all right, we'll build this together and see how that goes. And it grows. So give room to grow. And especially give yourself some time and space to experience the character of the person that you're collaborating with. And character is different than personality. Personality gets you through the day to day. Character is what shows up on the hardest days. What do they look like when they don't get what they want? What do they look like when things go wrong? Because that's ultimately going to define your collaboration and your impact, no matter what it is. And always, of course, I can't just give one piece of advice, but always commit to the win-win, not the win-lose. Gotcha. Commit to a win-win, and that protects the integrity and builds trust in the relationships. What do you guys think?
I would have said ditto.
It's great advice, Bill.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I would piggyback on that is to, and I think this is maybe one of the areas that we maybe didn't shine in, and I wouldn't, and I don't think it was structured this way or on purpose. I think it was just because we were doing something completely new and different. I think when you're collaborating with somebody, clarity in the outcome, you know, the clarity in your vision, clarity in defining what you want this to look like, which can be hard sometimes when you're talking like we were about concepts. There was nothing
No, there wasn't
out that catered to the longtime notary when we launched in December of 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody help me there. So we were the first that really, you know, when we positioned that way for the experienced notary, and very quickly realized that we couldn't hang on to that particular, help me with the word I'm looking for, that avenue, that we had to expand it to all notaries, not just the experienced ones.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I think just being clear on your vision with what it is that you are looking for, and not being worried about, you know, I don't want to hurt Bill's feelings by saying this, or I don't want to hurt Laura's feelings by saying this, but it's important that you are crystal clear about what you expect the outcome to be. And I think with that, because what we were doing was so unprecedented, I think that's something that we would change, moving forward with other projects that we work on. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, I
would
think
have-
what was really unique, I'm sorry, Bill, is when you think about some of the communities out there, their leader is one person.
Yeah.
It's their product, it's one person, and they bring in guests or do things, right? But it's the one person, right? And we are all people in our own right with our own businesses trying to collaborate to create something that's a little piece of each of us. And that's what was so different about us than if you look at loan signing system or notary stars, you got one guy, right? And so that's it. This was, how do you bring people who are already doing things and just give a little piece so that we've created something bigger than ourselves? And that was, I think, the really unique proposition. And we didn't see models of that anywhere.
I don't think
We were kind of building the plane as we flew.
Yeah.
exactly.
That's a great way to say it.
That is perfect. And the thing about that is, as you're building that airplane, you're using duct tape a lot, because sometimes there's not a huge advanced vision of it. You have a general idea of where you're going, and then you got to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. So I think there was a lot of that. And then finding the message around that. And so from a very practical standpoint, a practical piece of advice that I would have for somebody who is going to build collaboration or community. And honestly, I hope that NBB, the community in that collaboration, would spark someone else to start something similar or like it. But the piece of advice that I've learned, and you can see now Jen implementing, me implementing, is when you build something like that and you hear our tendency is to stack it with so much value. It just blows people's minds, right? That's what NBB did. That's what I did. I stacked it with so much value. It was so packed with a value that it would confuse people.
Yeah.
And you would hear people say, oh, you should join NBB. It's so worth it just for this. Well, the thing I learned from Alex Hermosi, who's one of the investors in school, is that thing, that one thing that somebody says it's so worth it for this, is the only thing you should be selling, the only thing that you should be focused on. So you can see that now emerging in high performance notary. I want to focus on achievement and goals. That's all I'm talking about in there. Jen's, all she's talking about is marketing for notaries and her 5-point plan. That's it. It's happening right in there. Laura is refining that too. Mindset and the practical components of honoring the role that you play, right? It's just getting that laser focus. So that would be a very practical piece of advice I'd recommend to anybody who's going to take something like this on.
Is there any shot, any chance that there would be a new version of this group that you guys would collaborate on again in the future?
Not from us in that format that you saw that I'm thinking of. You're going to see us collaborate,
right,
and do something, whether it's a product like the CNTDA or whether it's an event or whatever it is, where we come together, we've created something, and then we kind of go back and do our thing, rather than the management of that many people with that many different ideas in a subscription model like that. It was hard. We learned lessons about it. And so we want to do things different so that, you don't want to repeat the mistakes,
no,
that you learn about. And like Bill said, maybe somebody else will step up and say, I got a better idea. I think I can do some of that. And here's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, guys, as we wrap up, thank you so much for just being vulnerable to this. But would each of you share a piece of advice for notaries who are seeking support and mentorship in the industry? And Jen, I'm going to start with you.
I think the word mentorship has the wrong meaning in this industry. We, as notaries, tend to think that mentorship means shadowing somebody in their job, right? To learn how to present documents in whatever situation it is, whether it's loan documents, trust documents, general notary, whatever it is. How do I work a medical facility versus a hospital, those kind of situations. And that can get sticky because, as we've learned from the loan signing business, people don't necessarily want, a third party looking over shoulders when it comes to their very private, personal documents that they need to have um, notarized. So I would say my advice to notaries moving forward is consider mentorship as something different than shadowing. Consider mentorship as maybe some one-on-one coaching or some group coaching, because we have to understand that we're not just notaries. We're notaries who are building businesses, hence the name Notary Business Builder, right? We are solopreneurs, we're entrepreneurs, we're also business owners. And so we have to let go of this idea of, oh, I just want to stamp some documents. I just want to sit and stamp things. That's great if you want to do that. Go get a W-2 job and do that somewhere. But if you want to be in business and run your own business, you have to accept the idea that you are a notary entrepreneur. And with that, like any business owner, you should have some coaching, some mentorship for your business skills, not necessarily just your signing skills. That's what good foundational training is for. And that's what Laura provides. She is the queen. This is why she's called the GOAT.
Yep.
Because the foundational training that she teaches is second to none.
Laura, any advice for notaries?
Yeah, one is don't go it alone. I think that it's lonely. I think it makes it harder than it has to be. I think you're going to reinvent the wheel when you don't need to. And when you're choosing that kind of support and community, make sure you find a coach and or community that resonates with you. That's in alignment with what your vision is. If that group is about high-powered marketing and getting out there and doing stuff that you don't want to be doing, that's not how you want to run your business, then you need a different community or group or coach. Make sure that the coach has the skill sets you're looking to develop. If they're a fine notary, but they don't know how to help you get business, they're missing some of the skill sets that you're looking for. So make sure that they have what you're looking for and that they can demonstrate that they have what you're looking for and that they've done the job that you want to be doing.
Yeah.
So make sure those skills all align with where you want to take your business. So I think those are some important things to consider. And I think having one-on-one coaching availability is important, but group can also work very well, as well as communal. So whether it's just a meetup in your own town and you just have 4 or 5 other notaries that you meet up with, have coffee and download and share ideas. That's how I started, 4 people, right?
Yeah.
So who knew what can happen? So it's okay to start small. It's okay to be shy in the background of the group until you get your feet, under you. But it's so much harder by yourself, and it doesn't have to be.
Gotcha. Bill, can you round us out on this question?
Yeah. So totally in agreement. So I'm piggybacking, but also not piggybacking. So
The subtitle of this video, the piggybacking interview. Yeah.
right. So along those same lines, personally, I like to choose a coach or a training or a program that's led by someone that has the results that I want. That way you can cut through a lot of the BS. So, but also I totally agree that you got to find a mentor or a training program that you resonate with. Because if you're doing it right, you're going to spend a lot of time with that person or that program as you go in and learn and go back and relearn and go back and relearn, because that's how it works in with our especially adult learning models. But the most important thing, I think, is to stick with that program or that person long enough to actually implement what you learn.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling with who to choose, there are lots of options, but right here on this call, you have three of the best in the industry right now. Like Jen said, Laura Biewer is called the GOAT, greatest of all time, for a reason.
She
If you
is.
want to understand how to operate as a competent notary public that fully understands and appreciates the role that you play, and how to build a business that can last for 20 years, get in her orbit and do the things that she teaches you to do. And then you have Jen Neitzel with Marketing for Notaries. She offers a clear and very clear and direct 5-point marketing system that I've loved working with, that will help you overcome your fears about marketing and networking and finally starting to get the results that you want in your business. And then there's you, Jen Cooper, with JKC Mobile Notary brand, providing clear, the practical training that notaries can use both when they're just getting started in their career. And then I love your content creation, your blogging course, and the goal setting workshops that you do. If anybody on this interview is watching and looking for a mentor or support program, you found it. It's right here. You can start right here with one of these three. Any of us, or any of these four, I guess I'm including.
Yes, I would say please include you.
Any one of us can help you succeed right now. So find who you resonate with, get dialed in, implement what you learn immediately, and just go.
I love it. Before we leave, you guys, I'd love for you to just share anything else you'd like to share with this community as we say goodbye to an amazing collaborative thing that you created, an amazing community that you created that I think is going to live beyond the walls of NBB into the future. But anything else you'd like to share, the floor is yours.
Gosh, I have a couple of thoughts, and that is sometimes when we needed to work together, it created time conflict. And so sometimes we had to do it all together on like one screen. And I don't know if you guys recall that we did a call sharing in Bill's living room, sharing that one screen. We're all three trying to do it together.
In our jammies.
Yeah. And then another time when we were in Monterey, we did another one. I actually had to step off and do something else separately in a little cubby hole to try to keep my call going. So we didn't, allow anything to get in the way of what we were doing. And sometimes we needed to just incorporate it into what we were doing. And that was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed doing that.
I think I'm going to answer this from a legacy point of view about NBB, the legacy that it leaves. But I think that we have made a significant dent in the notary community with the mindset of collaboration over competition. That 3.5 years ago, most notaries looked at the other mobile notaries in their community as their competition. And I think that we have significantly changed that, where people are embracing meeting other mobile notaries, realizing the referral networks that they could build together to help each other out. Jen, you are the epitome of that example with your group that you have created out in Central California and leveraging Facebook to get the word out about that. But if we've left any kind of legacy, I think that besides the relationships, I think that collaboration feeds right into that, obviously.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we have to also share. Can I share a story?
Yes, because I'm hearing news on an eagle, and what?
So we were in Washington. We were staying at Bill's home for some collaboration meetings. We were reworking Organizing Notary Business Builder to try and make it more efficient. That time we were up there. This was a year ago in March, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's Seattle.
You have
in the cannabis workshop that we built
in the
the
cannabis
place.
workshop. Another thing that we've collaborated on.
Mhm.
And we went on a nature walk to get out, get some vitamin D. Bill was sharing with Laura and I one of the paths that he likes to hike, very short one. And that was a beautiful day in Washington. And it was on the bay, on the ocean, wasn't it?
Right on the Salish Sea. Yeah.
Yeah. And beautiful, beautiful. And we noticed this eagle. I'm in Texas. Like I live in a city. I don't see eagles flying through the sky. And this guy he was hovering pretty low, like he was trying to catch a fish or something and making noise. And we're all standing there in wonderment of this eagle, and it's quiet, beautiful breeze going through. And we're all three tracking the eagle as he flies up to what we then realized was, oh, there's his nest. Because as you might not be aware, eagle nests are like a 3-2, right? 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They're huge. Like, oh, there's his nest. And we're all looking up at the nest. And then we realized that there was another eagle in that nest. We're like, oh, how sweet. He's going to visit his friend in the other eagle in the nest. And then we realized that they were doing it. They were having sex in the nest. It was a mating, it was a booty call. Laura, being the smartest of the three of us, whips out her camera and gets a part of it on a tape. But we all stood there, mouths open, like, wow. I mean, we were dying laughing, of course, like, oh my God, those eagles were just doing it. And we saw it. But what a once in a lifetime thing to see.
Seriously.
Two eagles mating. I'll say it the right way instead of doing it. I'll say mating.
With an audience.
With an audience.
With an audience,
yes.
with a camera, which I'm not sure is even legal, even in Washington.
Is it even legal? I don't know. We should have been like
Start an OnlyFans page for the eagle.
OnlyFans, eagles.
Yeah,
that spurred on our creativity, and we went back and worked like busy beavers.
Oh my gosh.
Still giggling as hard today.
Have fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna miss coming to your house, Bill, and seeing those eagles. I'm gonna have to make a trip up there.
I know for sure. For sure. I keep looking for them. I have not been able to recreate that experience yet.
It's a once in a lifetime thing, man. It's like NBB itself, watching two eagles mate. I mean,
you guys,
what are the odds?
Bill, did you have anything you wanted to share before we wrap this up?
No, I think I am complete. Thank you very much. This has been great. I appreciate the pivot and the shift on this. Laura, Jen, thanks for being willing to do this as well. I think this was
great.
I'm great.
I didn't cry.
No, you didn't cry. I'm really proud of you. Thank you guys for being here. And we will see you where we see you out and about in our notary communities. Have a great new year, because we will see everybody on this video January 5th. So they're just getting started. So perfect. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.